The Austin Ambassador is a large family car that was introduced by Austin in March 1982. The vehicle was a heavily updated version of the Princess, a saloon car that it lacked a hatchback. Only the doors and inner structure were carried over, but the wedge-shaped side profile betrayed the car's Princess origins, and it was not considered a truly new model. The Princess had been out of production for 4 months by the time that the Ambassador went on sale.To. Some extent a car which bridged the gap between the smaller Morris Ital and the Rover SD1. Sales were low, and the model was discontinued in 1984. Design. Unlike the Princess, there was no 6-cylinder 2.2-liter version. The Ambassador was offered only as a 4-cylinder, initially with either a 1.7-liter or a 2.0-liter single carburetor variant in L, HL and HLS trims. A benefit of not installing the taller E6 engine was that the bonnet could be made lower and flatter, although this meant that the wipers were now no longer concealed, unlike those of the Princess. Instead of the previous premium 2.2-liter models, there were the HLS and later Van den Plas trim levels, both with a twin carburetor version of the 2.0-liter engine. In 1983, the 2.0-liter HL was upgraded to also use the more powerful twin carburetor engine. A 4-speed manual gearbox and automatic were the only transmissions offered, with commentators citing the lack of a fifth gear available in other BL models for the manual transmission as one of the car's drawbacks. Despite its prototypes being built in left-hand drive, production versions of the Ambassador were only built in right-hand drive form and thus was not exported to continental Europe. Few remain on the road today in Britain, approximately 28 cars. This is out of 43,500 built, compared to around 225,000 for the Princess. Aside from the Ambassador's connections to the lowly repute of the Princess, commentators point out that its sedate image and driving characteristics and low performance also militated against its success in a market where performance and taut handling were becoming ever more important. Some components, such as the headlights, were shared with the Morris Ital. Other minor components, including much of the interior trim, was also shared with other BL products, such as the Allegro. The interior was generally not an improvement over that of the Princess, feeling cheap and lacking a rev counter, even in the top HLS model. According to British Leyland, only the front door skins were directly shared with the Princess. The rear part of the chassis was modified to accommodate the opening hatch, and there were windows in the C-pillars which did make for an airier cabin. The Ambassador only served as a stopgap in the Austin range, and it was discontinued in March 1984, after exactly 2 full years, with no official replacement. The gap it left in the Austin Rover range was effectively filled by the slightly smaller Montego and by the new generation of smaller Rovers. Sales. The Ambassador achieved domestic sales of 43,427 in the 2 years which it was available. Of these 43,427, only around 28 are thought to be still experiencing active service on the road in the UK, with around 60 still in existence. Special versions. As with the Princess before it, Ambassadors were converted by specialist coach builders into hearse and limousine variants. Media appearances. A fleet of red Austin Ambassadors was shown on a production line in a 1982 Not the 9 O'Clock News skit. All the actor employees on the line were known as Bob. The end of the skit proclaimed the BL Ambassador, hand-built by Roberts. This was a parody of the current Fiat ad campaign for the Strato, which owing to the robotized production line proclaimed it was hand-built by robots. The Austin Ambassador was the subject of the song Why Reg by comedian Graham Fellows, as his alter ego John Shuttleworth, in which he speaks of how great the car is. The Y registration dates the model to January 1983. References.